Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series PGM Pandemonium, where I take a look at 8 of my favorite PGM games of all time, and today we're taking a look at Ketsui by Cave. We're going to be doing this a little bit differently than our usual episodes, because to talk about a bullet hell game, I'm actually not going to be using any cuts in this video. I'm going to show you the first 9.5 minutes of the game, so you can really get a sense of how bullet hell shmups progress as the games go on and get a little bit harder. Before we get too far involved, though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down below as well. But I would say Ketsui is one of my favorite cave games of all time as far as their vertical bullet hell shmups are concerned. It has absolutely everything I'm looking for in the genre, which is really good difficulty, amazing graphics, fair gameplay, and an absolutely rocking soundtrack, because Cave is always known for that. And the great thing, as I've mentioned previously in the series about Cave shmups on the PGM, is it's one of the cheapest ways to get into collecting Cave games, because when you get into their solo one-off arcade boards, you're talking $2,000 plus for any individual Cave shmup. And granted, the replayability is almost infinite because they're so difficult. If you want to get to that one credit continue status, it might take you months upon months upon months. So your hour versus cost is not too bad. The initial sticker shock is massive. We're getting into Neo Geo AES territories with Cave PCBs. Now on something like the PGM, you can pick up a Ketsui cart for like $175, which is absolutely epic and incredible. But outside of what these things cost really isn't the primary standpoint of why I do these videos. I always love the bullet hell genre, even though I'm not great at shmups. Honestly, I feel like I'm a little bit better at bullet hell games than I am in traditional shmups, because I don't have to worry about a lot of what's going on. You just need to focus on avoiding bullets. And that's the unfortunate part of a bullet hell game, because the graphics in Ketsui are absolutely incredible. There's so much good sprite work, there's so much good pre-rendered CGI look to it. You really want to be looking at what's going on in the game, but if you do that, you are very quickly going to start taking deaths, because you'll see on this first boss in the first stage, we already have some patterns flying around that are quite difficult to avoid. And that's why I wanted to show you this in one solid continuous run versus cutting, so you can see how I'm doing so far. I'm holding my own, and it's been probably about a few years since I played Ketsui, but you'll see the patterns start out fair. This is not the type of game that is going to destroy you right out of the gate. It's going to give you a lot of range to get better, to basically focus on what's going on, and to improve your gameplay. And I will say that there's an entire metagame underneath just trying to get good, as it were, because there are a lot of scoring mechanics and combos that you need to focus on. I do not do that when I play bullet hell shmups, because I'm not good enough at them to care about my high score. What I'm really focusing is on not dying, which I did right there to take my first continue. So if you're looking for more in-depth scoring information on how to play these games, I'll leave a link in the description below to how the scoring mechanics work. But I'm assuming if you're watching this video and you're looking for scoring mechanics, you're already better than I am, and you probably don't need me to explain to you what Ketsui is all about. But the bullet hell genre is very interesting because it is a niche genre, but people that love it absolutely love it. And if you do enjoy bullet hell games, then you obviously know who Cave is. If you don't play bullet hell games, Cave is a great company to start with, because they are the pinnacle of this genre. And you'll see here, moving on to the second boss, the patterns are just getting wild, and I'm not doing very well, but I am still enjoying my gameplay the entire time. And if I continued just to start the first couple stages and played them over and over again for like 3 or 4 hours, I would probably get to the point where I could at least get past the first stage without taking a hit. Because I'm not doing that, I'm just doing this in one run, you're going to see that I do take a bit more damage. But that's okay, and that's why I love this genre. It is a learning exercise. It's like trying to get really good at Tony Hawk Pro Skater back in the day. The more you play, the more you practice, the more you improve. And that's a ton of fun in an arcade game, because it means if you do pick this game up, you're going to get a ton of replayability for your dollar. And that's what you're always looking for when you're collecting arcade boards. Not just that the game is great, but that you're not sinking a bunch of money into a 20-minute experience that you're not going to want to come back to that often, because you feel like the gameplay never truly changes. And I am just playing this on normal difficulty. You can up the difficulty and make it even harder, which is going to make the challenge even more intense. But you'll see here, I'm starting to take some solid deaths, and your hitbox is basically only a few pixels in the middle of your ship, so when you do take a death, it is your fault. But the nice thing is we do have bombs that will remove those bullets from the screen. You'll see I picked up another one there. You generally get one before a boss. So if you do end up in a situation where you know you're going to take a death and you're trying to get that one credit continue or as far as you can into the game, that's when you're going to want to save those bombs like I just blew off now. But I absolutely love the bosses because they're going to give you the most complex bullet patterns across the entire game. Now, of course, getting to the boss is no small feat in and of itself, but you'll see here as I do navigate left and right and get around those bullet patterns, it feels really good in gameplay. When you're performing well and everything's working out, you feel like you're invincible. Now, of course, the game's going to realize that you haven't taken a death in a while, and not that it changes its behavior, but it feels like it does. You're going to die eventually. But you see here, I almost navigated through there, and if I had just gone a little bit further up, I would have been able to avoid that attack and beat the boss. But as good as this game looks, as amazing as this game plays, it also sounds absolutely spectacular, and I do love that stages just transition from one to the other. So go ahead and listen to about a minute of the Ketsui soundtrack, and I'll come back and tell you more why you should get into bullet hell shmups if you haven't. But enjoy. I wouldn't say that's the strongest Cave soundtrack ever, but it is up there. But Death Smiles is my all-time favorite soundtrack that the developers at Cave have put together. But you will see I did take a few deaths, but I'm playing relatively smoothly. I am navigating around most of these bullet patterns, which is making everything feel really great. And you will see that that counter is counting up, and that is part of the scoring mechanic as well. And like I said, once you get past the base layer of just trying to be good at Ketsui or any Cave shmup, then you can start getting into the deeper mechanics of how to chain scores and do different things like that. Because once you get into the upper echelon of playing these games, it's not about the one credit continue, it's about trying to get on that leaderboard for a confirmed high score. But again, I don't play the game for that. I play it for the challenge, I play it for the excitement, but I also play it for just how damn good looking these games actually are. The ship that's going over that sand there, not sure if it's flying in the air, I've never been quite sure about what's going on. These bullet patterns, they are just so intense. It is a visual treat for the eyes. And a lot of times when I get into a bullet hell shmup, I love watching other people play the game so I can actually see the visuals. Like I said, if you're actually looking at how good the art is when you're playing Ketsui or any other bullet hell game, you are playing it wrong. You just need to be focused on where the bullets are, where your ship is, and trying to make sure the dead center of your ship is navigating around all of the different projectiles. Because if you're doing anything other than what I am right now, you are going to take a death just like there. I don't know if I looked away, it is just a hard part and you don't get an unlimited amount of bombs, which is a bit of a bummer. So control-wise, there is a different mechanic. If you're holding down the shop button, you have a larger burst of array, but you move slower. If you take that button and depress it, you're going to be able to move faster around the screen. And it does take a few minutes to get used to the different ship speeds. I generally keep the button held down and try to navigate around more slowly. That's what works for me, but it may be completely different to you. But you'll just see how intense these bullet patterns get on the bosses. And I thought I was going to be able to squeak around that, but of course in the last second, I wasn't able to. But that's the fun of this genre. The more you play it, the better you get at it, the more fun you have with it, the more you want to play them, because that pattern I was able to get past. And if you do want to emulate these, you can use save states to allow you to play the same stage over and over again, which is definitely going to assist you, because this game on a cartridge on the original hardware doesn't have a stage select that you can utilize. But yeah, that's Ketsui. It's an absolutely spectacular shmup from Cave, and like I said, considering all their arcade PCBs cost a small fortune, being able to buy a $175 cartridge and pop it into an original PGM motherboard means you can own a piece of Cave arcade hardware on the cheap. Now I get it, that's not the cheapest game you'll ever buy, but when it comes to Cave shmups, that is a gigantic, huge discount. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Love chatting with you guys. Tell me what you think about Ketsui. I will be back next week with an episode in the IGS PGM Pandemonium series. Do me a huge favor, hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully I don't take another death. Actually, I did. Bye-bye.